Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Butch, how does it feel to be back home?
As I drive around here in Moorhead, I mean, there's so many emotions that come over me. It is so powerful. You just understand. I'm actually sitting in a car that I could not have gotten in at 460 pounds. And I'm driving it, and I feel normal like everybody else. Powerful stuff. With all the innovations and new medications and new approaches, I got the audacity of hope that it's going to be a better day for people like me stricken with the disease of obesity.
Yep, you heard that right, 460 pounds. That's my hubby talking. His patients know him as Dr. Rosser, but if you really know him, you call him Butch. We've been on a journey together, through thick and thin. One that for Butch started deep in the dirty South.
I was born in the tail end of summer it's the summer that would never end because it was hot as hell. It's like that in Mississippi. My mother was perpetually pissed off all her life because I made her go through, 20 hours of labor. That was a big thing running throughout the neighborhood. Marjorie had a fairly fine baby boy, and I was 21 inches long and 11 pounds.
Fat and fine is how they praise you down south when you're a large baby. But it wasn't always easy being big.
As a young boy, Butch was always oversized, no question. I mean, when I tell you that Butch was big, he was big. He really was.
Oh, yeah. I think he ate up everything he gave hand on. That's one thing he liked to do as a child. He didn't miss meals, and he didn't miss a place.
Oh, they definitely love Butch down there. So much affection. But even well-intentioned love can hurt.
I never bothered to talk about his weight because he was my best of friends. But kids are always kids, and they don't change really. And they may not say it to your face, but they say it.
I had these pudgy cheeks, and everybody would love to pinch them. They started using the C word. The C word stood for chubby. That was the first time where I kind of knew that my body was different.
He knew how to cover for his insecurities. He would laugh it off and go get on, but deep down inside, you could tell it hurt.
Around first grade, I could actually get in some of my dad's shirts. In 8th grade, I was showing up taking his clothes. Oh, 8th grade, I'm 2-something. Then, the summer that I was 15, and I got on the scale, and I was like, 305. Yes, 6'2", 305.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Butch was a big guy long before we met and fell in love. See that? That's me, Dana. But don't get it twisted. He was hardly alone.
Obesity is so prevalent that people don't recognize it anymore. 40% of the adult population of the United States qualifies as having obesity. The vast majority of people are people who are all around us, people you see all the time.
Butch represents many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in our country today.
The public still doesn't really recognize that obesity is a disease. There's something physical pushing back against people's effort to lose weight.
Let's bring it back with this. See, here was the practice field. I was 6'4", and benched 500 pounds and ran a 4.85 on AstroTurf and dunked the basketball.
Well, I've never seen this. You know, this is my first time.
I know. It was in if you play in sports. And then track season, I remember because I was throwing a shot put, we'd be over here.
Butch was going to be the best. He's going to get you. Whatever it is, Butch would give it all he had. I mean, he would go in, and he went in all the time.
I thought I could maybe become acceptable, if that makes sense. I wanted to say, he's an exceptional big guy. I call it my compensatory phase. Oh, you too big to me. No, watch me school you. Oh, you going to talk about me, call me fat, and come up with me? Yeah, do that problem like I did and walk away. I was dropping the mic before dropping the mic was known. Because it was a personal battle every day.
Weight wasn't the only thing heavy about my boo. From a young age, he had big dreams. But on his way to becoming a world-class surgeon, Butch started paying even less attention to himself. And like many folks, the weight crept in.
Someone who is 100 pounds overweight, it's a reflection of profound damage to the nerves that are responsible for controlling body weight. And that's what actually is making it difficult for someone in that weight range to lose weight, because the control mechanisms are totally busted.
There's so much unsubstantiated blame on the individual that they are obese because they're eating too much, it's their own fault, they don't have the willpower. And we now know through many decades of research, the science, and you cannot willpower your way out of obesity.
It's like, I call it an obesity ninja. It creeps up on you insidiously. Because it's hard to tell 10 pounds a year if you're already 6'4", 300 pounds. And that's what happened to me. My clothes got getting bigger. I tried everything, and I mean everything. And nothing was working. In a way, I was highly functional, but running from that dark cloud of depression. 450 pounds. This was the end of the road for me.
Good evening, National Baptist Convention. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. We hope that you enjoyed that video to get us started on tonight, and we are excited about the opportunity. Guess what? Not only did we show the video, but in a few minutes, you'll get a chance to meet the people who were in the video. Yes, and that includes good evening. My name is Michael Miner. I am the National Director of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated Hope Health Ministry. And we bring you greetings on behalf of our president, Dr. Jerry Young. We also want to recognize our General Secretary, Dr. Alvin Edwards, the chair of our Federal Faith-Based Initiatives, Dr. Dr. Alvin Love, and all of our team at Hope. Well, this evening we are truly blessed. We have our chieftain with us tonight, Dr. Jerry Young. We're going to allow him to come before we even get started so he can get us started and share with us some remarks. Dr. Young, good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening, Brother Michael. How are you? And good evening to all of the persons who are participants and those who are indeed joining us this afternoon to be a part of this tremendous webinar.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Young, for getting started today. Thank you, sir.
And it's my pleasure. I'm just delighted to be here, and I certainly, Michael, want to appreciate you for making this happen. But allow me to simply tell you how thankful I am that we are doing this. And I say this without any fear of contradiction. Butch is one of the greatest surgeons on the planet, and it just so happened he's from the Mississippi Delta, and I have the privilege of being able to say he is one of my best friends, and I'm so delighted. And not only that, Michael, I wouldn't be at New Hope Baptist Church today if it were not for him.
Okay.
My wife and I went on vacation down in Orlando, Florida, years ago when he was a student at the University of Mississippi there, studying to be a physician. And we came back through Jackson, and Butch insisted that we spend the night and go to church with him. And he was a member of New Hope Baptist Church. And that was the first and only time I had ever been to New Hope Baptist Church in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
And the rest is a great guy. What a tremendous guy, friend he is, and been a friend. I mean, literally, I guarantee you, I can say this without fear of contradiction. He's been a friend of mine probably 45, maybe 45 years or something in the neighborhood. And just a great guy. His record is impeccable in terms of what he does. And he has such a tremendous record. And what is so magnificent about him is that Butch actually does surgery, but it's minimally invasive in terms of what he does. The guy is just a phenomenal guy and an outstanding wife. And so I'm delighted and privileged that we're having him. And he is an outstanding physician, but he's a fine friend of mine. And I say too, I'm delighted that he's a fine Christian.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Young. And look, Dr. Young, while we have you on here, I certainly know that I will join you in reminding everyone that we have a big event coming up in June, our National Baptist Congress. And so we want to be supportive of our National Baptist Congress coming up in, as what Dr. Young, I'm sure would say, the greatest city in America, Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh God, today.
Thank you, Brother President.
Hey, thank you very much for that.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dr. Young, again. And this evening, for our TempleCare Matters, we're going to do our obesity in Black America. We're also going to share a few things about our Let's Move National Baptist and health services, and a little bit about our mental health efforts. Look, you all, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, or whether you're on Zoom, come on, let's show some love for your state convention, your church, where you're from. Let's type it up. If you got questions or whatnot, look, we have some powerful folks, wonderful folks here. We're from Mississippi, they're down to earth. We want to be able to have some questions. You got a chance to see the video. That was a surprise. We want to make sure to ask and to be informed on tonight. All right. So now we also want to remind you, we got to think about our sponsors. This webinar is sponsored by the NIH All of Us Research Program. And this is an effort that we've been a part of for several years. It's from the National Institutes of Health. And the whole effort of this is try to get 1 million or more people to sign up for medical research. You can learn more about it at our landing page, which is joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. That's joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. All right. We also remind you all that we continue to be in this COVID-19 pandemic that's moving to an endemic, but we're not to a no-demic yet. So let's make sure we do everything that we can to stay boosted up and to be social distance and all that good stuff so that we can be around a little while longer. As the folks of always say, I want to see the Lord, but just not today. All right. This webinar is the third in the series of our first Tuesday TempleCare Matters webinars. It's involved into hybrid events, and we thank everybody tonight who's also having a watch gathering across the country. Some of you all have assembled in your homes, in your church fellowships hall, and other places to watch this together. So we appreciate that. And we're working now to provide you, before we have our sessions, a toolkit so you can be more interactive with those folks who are watching with you in person. So as we said before, we're focusing on obesity in Black America. And I am, Dr. Young and as always introduce his friend. Let me say a few things about Dr. Rosser first. Let me add him to the spotlight here. He's a world-renowned surgeon, educator, scientist, inventor, author, futurist, social advocate. Look, and we're giving the abbreviated version tonight, okay? Self-proclaimed terminal 12-year-old. He has given more than 350 invited lectures around the world, written over 60 peer-reviewed articles. Now, that's not something you put in the blog. Folks looked at it and said that it was top notch. 16 chapters in books, currently in print, are 11 digital books. Now, check this out. He's held academic appointments previously at Yale University School of Medicine, Albert Einstein College of Medicine, and the Morehouse School of Medicine. He is currently clinical professor of surgery at the University at Buffalo Jacobs School of Medicine, and biomedical sciences. What a name for that school. He is the past president, vice president of Society of the laparoscopic surgeons. I got it. Okay, good. And was recently elected to the board of the Society of American Gastrointestinal Endoscopic Surgeons Board. Ooh. He is practicing general surgeon and director of the Center for the Advanced Treatment of Heartburn at Gila Regional Health Center in Silver City, New Mexico. All right, Dr. James C. Butch Rosser Jr., panelist number one. All right. Now.
Oh, yeah, well, you got to take care of the girl. Oh, you got to take care of the missus.
Yes, there, exactly. Right? After you had me pronounce all those hard words, you can say, anyway. All right. Next, we have Dr. Dana Rosser. All right. Homemaker, mother. Oh, and we had to abbreviate this. It's a whole lot of this. Author and wife, married to Dr. James Butch Rosser Jr. And last I heard, she's still happy about it. A world-renowned surgeon. Dana's dedicated to educating people how to support a loved one's challenge with obesity. Dana takes a unique vantage point of offering comfort and understanding from the often overlooked spousal family member's perspective. Her focus is to lead the mass of supporters out of seclusion, address their emotions, and help them navigate through the delicate issues of caring for a loved one who is nutritionally challenged. Through her efforts, she hopes to aid in strengthening communication of the family unit as they learn to conquer this obstacle as a unified front. Woo! I'm almost done. A native of Akron, Ohio, and a graduate of the University of Akron, that's right, and a certified bariatric coach. Dana is the author of Through Thick and Thin, Facing Obesity Through the Eyes of a Loved One, and co-authored Unbreakable Spirit, Rising Above the Impossible with Lisa Nichols. Dana has also written articles on this delicate subject that has appeared on Today.com, that's the TV show, y'all, Daily Mail, Southern Writers Magazine, and Bariatric Today, just to name a few. Dana and Dr. Butch reside in Orlando, Florida. They have 5 children, Kevin, Dwayne, Nicole, and twins, Taylor and Tiana, and 2 grandchildren, Easton and August. Dana enjoys working out, traveling, reading, but most of all, spending time with her family. Now, look, y'all, I done talked enough. I'm going to bring up Dr. Rosser, and we're going to let them have their way.
Well, good evening. And I really feel like tonight I'm coming home. Having been raised at Pleasant Green Baptist Church in Moorhead, Mississippi, a member of the National Baptist Convention when I came up, and also being educated by one of your most prolific presidents, Dr. David Matthews. Dr. Matthews taught me political science, and he served, I think, Reverend Young, as president for over 30 years or 20 years or more, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty close. I think about 28 years, I believe.
Yeah, 28 years. And he's passed on now, but his legacy, a piece of his legacy resides in me. And I know what Jerry and his daddy thought about Reverend Matthews, and I know it resides in him. I won't tarry too long because I am a Southerner. And as my wife knows, it usually takes a Southerner probably about 5 minutes to say his or her name. So in the interest of time, I'm going to move on because I don't want to embarrass my friend, Dr. Young. I want to approach this subject of obesity in Black America a little bit different, both my wife and I. I will not hammer you upside the head with facts. You know the facts. I will not bludgeon you with the emphasis of we need to do better. We know we need to do better. I want to take this opportunity with the eddy currents that are flowing off this film to highlight what my real mission, it's not my real mission, but what the next mission is. And that is, Dr. Miner, to be fat and Black in America is a double whammy that is not a hill that people should have to climb. So tonight I'm going to introduce you to what it is to be fat and Black in America. Now I use that word fact not to condone that word, but to really announce that that is the new 4-letter word, because these type of terms are inappropriate for people like me who are challenged to balance energy and food consumption in a positive sense. I want you to understand that when you are challenged with excess weight and you are Black in America, it is a row that you don't want to hoe, and it's a tough row to hoe. Now I'm bringing my roots up, right, Jerry, with that one, because we were raised in the Mississippi Delta, and we had to do something called chopping cotton.
Yeah, man.
And when we go out there at 6 in the morning, when you're chopping cotton, what we wanted to do to get in on an easy row. I didn't want the row with the Johnson grass. I didn't want the row with the gumbo mud, Miner. We were trying to get the easy row, because let me tell you, when you have to chop that tough row, and Jerry can tell you, that is a hard $2.50 to earn in a day. So it is a tough row to hoe, and I want you to be aware of that. I don't want you sashaying around here thinking that you don't have a double whammy, because you will not be prepared to overcome it. When I was 460 pounds, going up a stair, I was suffering. When I had to stuff 460 pounds in an airplane seat made for someone 5'10" and 175 pounds, I was suffering. When I'd sit on a commode in South Africa at Sun City, one of the first Blacks to speak there after apartheid, and be cheered as I drove up, and then they had to help me because when I sat on the commode, it crumbled like dust, and they had to help me out. I'm telling you, I was suffering. And you have to understand about suffering because the only way to overcome it is to be aware and be prayerful and put those things in place so you succeed. That in Black in America, it is a tremendous burden to bear. And you have to be aware and you have to prepare. So people don't look at you the way they look at everything else. I asked when I did a TED Talk on this, would you feel the same way with a diabetic going into a dialysis center? Would you have the same posture seeing somewhere whose hair has fallen out under the ravages of chemotherapy to try to overcome cancer? Would you have the same disposition with a drug addict that was in rehab trying to get his life straight? And I won't pause. I'm going to answer it for you. No, you would not treat them as you would someone who is nutritionally challenged and have excess weight. And why I'm saying this is not just for the people of size like me. I'm talking about those people out there who would look at us and Christian folk in the National Baptist Convention who would look at us and with disdain because you think I'm unclean, I'm unhealthy. And all of those prejudices that you have. And I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about you because you aren't stricken with this disease. You came here to hear a medical professional spew out facts. You won't get that from me. I'm not built like that. Dr. Young knows that. I'm willing to fight the fight. I'm willing to stand up for what's not popular. I'm willing to say what you don't want to hear, but God wants you to hear it. You have to have wide shoulders and big feet to walk the walk I've walked all over this planet. So I'm going to pause right now, but I hope I put you on alert that there's work to do. And it's not about learning numbers. It's about joining forces and knowing the challenge. You have a double whammy on your back and you have to carry it. And also more than that, for the people who are out there that are fat shamers, you have to do better. You must do better. You are commanded by God to do better. All when you snicker, when you say a bad thing about someone for your amusement, you are not part of the solution. You actually are the problem because scientifically it's been proven when you fat shame, when you call people out their names, when you try to make them go to the doctor, you keep them from going to the doctor because you have shamed them. So this evening I say hello to you. Hello to you knowing better. And now you have to be about doing better. Now I finished my little different angle, but I want to bring my wife on board because she's going to let you hear the song that no one hears song. She's going to illuminate the choir that people forget, and that happens to be the people who dare to love folk like me, the supporters, the family members who are forgotten because you have a tough road to hoe also. Darling, it's your turn.
How do I follow that? Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having me and Butch. Obesity truly is a family affair. Whether you know it or not, it's 29 million people in America that suffer from obesity, severe obesity. When I say severe obesity, I mean 100 pounds or more over their weight. That's 29 million people. Think about their relatives They have spouses, they have children, they have grandchildren, they have aunties, uncles. Those people, those supporters worry about them constantly. I know because I was one of them. I met Butch, well, me and Butch met in church, actually, at the House of the Lord in Akron, Ohio. And I remember when we were dating, people were questioning whether or not I was dating him because he was this world-renowned surgeon. Because at that time we were dating, he was 460 pounds, and people thought that I was dating him because of the fame and fortune. So they were putting their beliefs on me. And that was really heart-wrenching for me. Here I am, an educated woman, had a great job, could take care of myself, but people thought terrible of me because I was dating someone who was big, who was different. I saw past that. I saw Jewel. You see how the guy is. He is charming. He's lovable. I fell in love with him. I fell in love with all of him, but people judged me for being with him. I was fiercely protective of Butch. I remember when people would just like stare at him or laugh or get off the elevator. If we were going to get onto an elevator, I always would mean mug people. And I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person, but I found myself changing. I saw your stares when people would, laugh or just giggle or whatever. I remember when we were walking on an airplane and people would look at Butch like, oh God, I hope this guy isn't sitting next to me. And I understand that you want your seat, you have your seat, you want it. But as a loved one, I saw your looks. So you weren't just hurting my husband, which he saw it. I saw them too. And that really hurt my spirit. And so I went in again into protective mode, trying to somehow, I couldn't stop the looks and the stares, but I could do my part in maybe, making him look elsewhere so he wouldn't see other people. I just wanted to protect him from all those people out there who were fat shaming. And I also constantly worried about his health. I wasn't blind to the fact that my husband was severely obese. He had medical issues. And I constantly worried. He dealt with sleep apnea. And I always felt like he was going to stop breathing in the middle of the night. So a lot of times I did not sleep well because I was afraid that he was going to pass away in his sleep. That is just no way to live. But I, at that time, didn't know how to express that to someone. So I just kind of took it upon myself and just live life every day. But I had that the anxiety and the depression of thinking that when the phone would ring, I would think somebody's going to call me and tell me that my husband had a heart attack. I mean, he's a surgeon. So I'm thinking, oh God, this is just, so stressful for him. Someone was going to call me and tell me that. And living with that every day is not fun, which really caused me to have anxiety. Our quality of life suffered. We didn't really want, or Butch didn't really want to go out places because, the seating wasn't appropriate for him. And so because of that, I stayed home with him. And a lot of times I wanted to go out places, but I didn't because he didn't. So in a way that made me sad and I felt lonely. So and if I did go out places with my friends, which was very rare because I always wanted to be with him, I felt guilty for being out with them. So I never could really get into a really happy place with me and Butch. I worried so much about him and his health that I kind of lost myself. I wasn't doing certain things or exercising and doing the things I should do. And I'm not blaming him for that. Please hear me on that. I was just so worried about him and I was into what he was doing and making sure he was okay that I just kind of lost who I was. After a while, I didn't know what to do. So I sought help. I went to a counselor and I remember the counselor telling me that she felt like I was suffering with severe obesity without actually carrying the weight. I was losing myself. I was doing things that I wasn't normally doing. I wasn't doing anything. I was just, worrying about Butch and I wasn't being the best Dana that I could be. And I think that it bled over into my kids, because I was so anxious about him. I'm not sure if I was the best mom that they had. So that's why I was saying in the very beginning, obesity truly is a family affair. It affects everyone in the family. I also went to look for books. I went to look for support groups because just like with someone who has an addiction to alcohol or drugs, they have a family, portion of that called Al-Anon, where they get support for the family members. And obesity is a disease. So let me just make that clear. But there was nothing for people like me, a spouse, loved ones, who just wanted to know how to support their loved one. What tools could we have? Was there somebody else out there just like me? How do I even start the conversation? There was absolutely nothing. I looked. And because of that, God put it on my heart to write a book. And my book is entitled Through Thick and Thin, Facing Obesity Through the Eyes of a Loved One. I was motivated by the Lord, as well as Toni Morrison, who said, if there's a book out there that you want to read that has not been written, then you need to write it. And that's what I did. I have a book and I also have a workbook. So those supporters out there, I want to just talk to you for a second. If you have a loved one that is suffering with their weight and you need to talk to them, first of all, I want you to find your why. Why do you want to talk to them? Is it because you're concerned about their health? Is it there's fertility issues? Is there quality of life issues? Are you not attracted to them anymore? I mean, let's just be real. What is it? What is the reason why you want to speak to your loved one? And then once you get that why, once you pray on that and meditate, talk to a close friend, talk to a counselor or clergy, and kind of just almost do a role play of talking to them before you actually talk to your loved one. And it will ease your pain, because this is not an easy subject to talk about. It truly isn't. Trust me, it's not. But you need to really express your feelings as well. You have a right to talk about how you feel. Now, the way you talk about it is key. When you do finally talk to your loved one, you need to lead with love. Do not give anybody an ultimatum. Don't say, you need to lose 50 pounds or this. Don't try to be the food police. Come from a loving place that, tell them, listen, this is hurting me. Don't try to change them overnight, because that's not going to happen. If you can just express how you truly feel in your heart and come within a loving environment, talk to them, hold their hand, look in their eyes, and tell them, look, make obesity the enemy. Don't make them the enemy. What can I do? You ask them, what is it that I can do to help you? Can I help you with your meals? Can I help you? Can we walk together? What is it? Just just find out what it is that you could do to help. And I know that those three things can help you on your journey. Also, I'm just so happy that Metaflix put this film and documentary together for us and told both of our sides of the story. You saw part one. There is a part two to this as well. And if you want to go and see the full documentary, go to www.mediflix, mediflix.com, and you can see both parts of the documentary for free. So I want to turn it back over to you, sweetie.
Well, may I say something, baby?
Yeah.
This is what I like to say. The approach, Dr. Miner and Reverend Young, that you take is so important. I have a little thing that I came up with, because when you think about talking to a loved one about excess weight, think PTA. After you get your why, you have to leverage patience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really wait the right timing.
Yes.
And like Dana said, you lead with affection. You lead with love. I did not know what I was doing, Jerry. I did not know what I was doing to her. And once that was illuminated, we went on a journey. It was unbelievable. That girl was pregnant with twins and went with me to a stay away obesity camp at Duke to help me get started. The first week she lost more weight than me. She had twins. Now that's dedication. Now, not many people do that. And then the other thing that she used to do with the stealthy, healthy eating. I thought I was eating hamburger. No, I wasn't. It was turkey. I thought I was using a salt shaker. No, I wasn't. It was Mrs. Dash. I mean, I could go on and on with how she walked the walk she talked about. And so I just wanted to get that in, Dr. Miner, before we turn it over to you. And I want to thank the National Baptist Convention, because I'm a scientist also and published author. You all are with the NIH, and this, I've spoken at the NIH and talked about the necessity of providing money for grassroots movements like this. And I'm so proud after speaking there about that. I did not know until the night that you all were part of my dream come true. So God bless you and what you're doing. And if you ever need me for anything, well, Jerry knows this, Dr. Manor, you just call, and we're family now. Thank you all so much.
Look, don't run off too fast. We have a couple of questions. Yes, we did receive, and Dr. Young has been super excited about that. We are the first group of our kind to receive a grant from the National Institutes of Health. It's a 5-year grant for $750,000. And we just got word that we're hoping that not the next coming year, but the following year, they've looked at the work that we're doing and they've already asked them to give us more money. So we're just happy glad. I know Dr. Young is also double happy glad. Okay, for that one. So look, we have a couple questions for you now. Yes. People want you to expound on this phrase you use, nutritionally challenged.
Well, and Dana, she'll have her angle, I have mine. It was a way to present the problem in a more kinder and gentler way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe language is where we all can start to heal folk. Language is the key to making a step forward. That's why I said that fat was the new it was a new 4-letter word. In fact, it's worse than an N word. And so early on, I tried to construct this, and Dana, we both were together and say, okay, you call, instead of calling people fat and this, just understand it as the disease, and part of the disease is balancing the nutrition that you bring in with the calories that you burn off. So it was my effort even back then to have a kinder, Dr. Miner, a kinder and gentler projection of this to the public, because the fat shaming is just been growing and growing, and it wasn't constructive. And Dana, go ahead and give your part.
Yeah, and just obesity in general, morbidly obese. I mean, it just sounds like death, Yeah. So when we were talking, it was like, okay, what can we do to put it together? And what you said is right, nutritionally challenged. It almost kind of gives you a hug. It makes you feel like, okay, I can do it, as opposed to you're morbidly obese. It just sounds like that's the end of the world. You can't get any help. There's no hope. So nutritionally challenged sounds better to us.
And that was a very good question. I think that's the first time we ever got asked. Right?
I know that's right.
From the right folks going now. So they said babies are big bone, and they're upset the babies fit in. So how do you address childhood obesity? I guess we start with babyhood. So.
Well, listen. That's where it starts. Now for us, because Dr. Miner, you from Hernando, and we're from the Mississippi Delta. And we go back to our roots in slavery, having to make a lot with very little. We have a certain diet, or menu performer, if you will, that we usually eat. And quite frankly, it's not the healthiest. And so when I grew up and I came out with 21 inches and 11 pounds, people back then said, oh my God, you got a fat and fine baby. Now I know you've heard that. And you know where that comes from? And a lot of people don't understand this. That comes from slavery. Because and just like if you had a litter of puppies or cats, you'd always see the runts, and the runts wouldn't survive. But in slavery, they had mass deliveries because they wanted more workers. And so they go to the master, look at the babies that were born, and boy, the one that was the biggest, they start calling him fat and fine, and they thought that was good. Mm-hmm. Well, we now know that's not good. But we have kind of lagged, Dr. Miner and Dr. Young, in our understanding when the babies are that heavy, it just won't burn off, and that we have to start paying attention to it early. I think that we're slowly changing that slavery-based fat and fine mentality to understand that prenatally, you want to try to have your babies of a certain weight, so they only have a certain number of fat cells. So when they get here, they have a better chance to avoid obesity. Now, the other thing to let you know, and you have to understand that if you have one parent that has excess weight, your child has a 25% chance of being challenged. If you have both parents of excess weight, it's a 50% chance of your child being challenged. So therefore, you have to understand those facts and really put a plan in place so they eat healthier, they have a lot of activity, and also you're not going around there beating them up so much they're stealing food at night and hiding it from you. And if your child is doing that, it's not the child, it's you. So that's the things I want to share with childhood obesity. Darling, what do you think?
Yeah, our children do have to watch it as far as their weight goes. And I just want to tell this quick story. I remember when the twins were little and we went to Mississippi, and I would feed the girls back home fruit and yogurt and all that kind of stuff. And when we went to your mom's house, there wasn't any fruit around. And I remember asking Butch, like, okay, well, can you take us to I don't know, it was Piggly Wiggly or whatever. Can you take us to go get some fruit and bring in? And I felt like his mom was kind of offended about that. And it wasn't that I wasn't eating, because what she was cooking was good. Okay. It was like fried catfish, eggs, grits, biscuits. I mean, you're going to go back to sleep after you eat it. You wake up and have it breakfast, but that was good. Don't get me wrong. But the girls weren't used to eating that. And so I remember me having to kind of juggle the traditions and the cultures and the deep South, and so I didn't want her to be offended by it. And so I was telling Butch, I don't know what to do. I mean, because the girls they were eating some of it, but some of them they were not eating. And so that was just a delicate dance that I had to endure.
It's a cultural thing, it's regional, as you know.
Yes, that's right.
It was always a culture shock to come home with me, because there were different attitudes. Like, I call it crack tea, but better known as sweet tea.
Wow, I never heard that.
Good too.
Wow.
And y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So, so those are the challenges. And I would just say, lastly, be aware that while you do have influence over your children, just do the best you can and keep praying. Right. I mean, just keep praying as you've been doing, and that God will guide you in the right way. There's no Bible on this that you can really rely on, like the book we rely on for our faith. But there are things we can do. You're not helpless.
Right.
All right, look, I hope y'all not in a hurry. We promised to always get our main broadcast done by 8:30 Central. We have other things to cover. If you all would hang tight, we have some more questions coming in, and we have like an after session that we go off social media. So if y'all hang out, we're gonna open it up and we'll go to y'all until y'all get, look, I said country, till y'all get tired. Will that work?
No, he will.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So everybody else is watching, we're going to go in so that we can be true to our time. We're going to bring Sister Nettie in to give us an update on Let's Move National Baptist. We're going to cut off for probably about 8:30, and that'll be done with our social media. And then we'll hang out on Zoom until either you get tired, I get tired, or they get tired. Okay? All right. So thank you again. Okay, come on, Sister Nettie.
Wow. This has been like a truly amazing conversation. And thank you so much, Dr. and Dana Rosser, for this transparent conversation. I was watching in the comments, and Sister Glenn said this is definitely something that we need to talk about more. So thank you so much for your sharing. And we're very excited that this is one of the 7 pillars of TempleCare Matters. So thank you so much for this truly powerful sharing. Really quickly, we're just going to hit on a couple of the other pillars, and we can get back to more questions with you two. And the first thing that we want to talk about is the monthly health observances for the month of May. One of the 7 pillars in TempleCare Matters is that we do want across National Baptist Convention churches to increase health knowledge and literacy. And so there are a number of health observances that are selected, and we'd like to get the synergy, the energy, the collective attention on certain movements in all of the churches across the convention. And you see on the screen now our monthly selections. We're highlighting the American Stroke Association, or for American Stroke Month. Stroke is the fifth leading cause of death and disability in the United States, and African Americans have a 50% more likely chance of having a stroke. Our Black men, 70%. So it's a very important element where we have tremendous disparity. So we really do want to focus on that information about FAST so that we can recognize stroke, get treatment so that we can increase survival rates and reduce disability. The second one that we're going to highlight is National Mental Health Awareness Month. And Sister Bettina Campbell, she's going to come on and talk more about this in a second. Y'all, the American Psychological Association, they do studies every year. And in 2020, they said that the mental health crisis that we were facing at that time because of COVID would yield serious health and social consequences for years to come. And the update in 2020 shows that many people are stuck in survival mode. So just as we're having these important conversations and information around obesity, we do continue that with mental health, and we're encouraging churches to do that during the month of May in recognition of National Mental Health Month. The third is National Physical Fitness Month, and that's right in line with Let's Move National Baptist. And you also do see on the screen a couple of weeks that we're encouraging, National Women's Health Week, as well as the Power to End Stroke. Now, how do we want you all to support our churches in doing this? On the next slide, you'll see a website where you can go on our H.O.P.E NBC webpage every year. We publish a list of the monthly health observances. You can download it by going to the H.O.P.E website, or if you just put in bit.ly MOU 2022, that stands for Monthly Health Observances, you can download that list. And you can also, if you are not already subscribed to the H.O.P.E Facebook page, we do hope that you are, that you will, and that you will also encourage members of your churches to do so. There, Dr. Felisa Washington does an amazing job, not only putting information, but also connections to resources, toolkits, so that you can just share the information that is being curated for the churches across the convention. So we do encourage everyone to please do take advantage of that so that we can increase our health knowledge and literacy across our churches. The next thing that we want to just kind of highlight really quickly, Dr. Minor, is an update on Let's Move National Baptist. I loved when Dr. Rosser mentioned the importance of grassroots movements. And we are so excited that the National Baptist Convention has embrace this movement where it is a movement about movement. We are really working to normalize exercise in African American churches in our communities by example, by embracing movement as a physical and spiritual discipline. So if you have not signed up, please do so. Go to letsmovenbc.com. It takes 5 seconds, well, maybe a half a minute to sign up, and that will link you into the information. The next slide shows what we have rolled out so far. Thus far, we have really examined why. Again, Sister Rosser, when you said in the conversations in dealing with loved ones that have the condition obesity, you mentioned examining your why. Scripture tells us that the heart of the matter is so important. The reason why we do things, our motivation is important. And so we did have, we spent about 3 or 4 weeks asking individuals to really look into why do we want to be well and what are we willing to do for that. And the part that came out is going to be some information. So we're encouraging, if you've not done so, please do submit that survey and the PAR-Q. It's information for our team as well as information for you so that we can make sure that the activity that you're embarking upon is going to be safe, appropriate, and effective, as well as enjoyable. So please do make sure that you do fill those out. If you're already signed up, they're in your email box. If you're not, sign up and they will be. And then lastly, Dr. Minor, so that we can turn it on over to Sister Campbell, I do want to just highlight one of the participation incentives awards on the next slide that's coming up. Dr. Minor has been so gracious supporting this movement with some funds. And we know that incentives can inspire action and sometimes participation pays. And here's the little connection that I want to make really quickly as it relates to the condition of obesity. If you think about it, excess body fat, adipose tissue, is actually energy. Dr. Rosser was talking about the balance of calories in, and energy that is expended. And if we take in more and we don't expend it, it shows in our body as excess adipose tissue. But what about knowledge, y'all? How often do we learn information? We hear it, we know what to do, and we don't do it, right? At some point, and scripture tells us that we're not just to be hearers of the word, we are to be doers. Knowledge is powerful when it is put into action. So, to encourage, not just getting information in this program about how to move more, we're going to encourage step by step along the way with incentives when people do actually take action, not just sign up in the program, but participate. So, today, y'all, we are actually going to give Dr. Minor how much? $100? $100?
$100.
We talking about to one individual now who is already signed up. Remember when we've been saying y'all sign up, sign up. We've been telling y'all sign up. There will be incentives coming along. So this
Take about 2
person,
gallons of gas with it. Yeah.
this person not only signed up, but we also saw that they watched the video that encouraged you and gave biblical support and exercises for you to determine your why. So while we just don't want you to sign up and say you in, we want you to do it as well. So we did a random poll, and this person has to be on the webinar. They signed up, they watched the video, and they're on the webinar. We checked. So Sister Carrie Whipper, let us know in the comments. Bravo to you.
Yeah,
You
Carrie
have
Whipper.
won.
Hold on,
You
let
got
me allow
$100. You got $100. So
Get your
we want to
blessing,
encourage.
girl. Get your blessing.
I know that's right. Yes.
Unmute Sister Whipper. So, Sister Whipper,
Can you all pull her up so that we can hear from her?
I'll be asking unmute now.
And to those who didn't get it this time, y'all, take your survey, do your part Q. We're gonna be checking, and we will acknowledge you.
All right, go ahead, Sister Whipper. Sister Whipper, your mic is live. Go ahead. I guess your microphone's not working.
Oh, but she's writing in the chat. She says she doesn't have a mic.
Oh,
well, you got $100. You might not have a mic, but you got $100.
Your mic. Okay. But you have Sister Whipper's contact information, everything, right, Sister Annette?
Yes, we do, and we'll be reaching out to you. God bless you all, and let's move, National Baptist. It's for our health and the glory of God. Thank you, Dr. Minor.
Well, look, we just got one thing. Since we won't be meeting in July because the 4th of July on our June call, which will be June the 7th, we're going to give away 2 $100 prizes so that we can take care of June and July. So we have our next one on June the 7th, our first Tuesday. So congratulations, Sister Whipper from Charleston, South Carolina.
Yay!
All right. Thank you, that's Sister Nettie. Okay, now Sister Bettina Campbell is coming. All right, let me look at it, Sister Bettina. There you go. All right, it's all yours.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We are really getting a lot of good information tonight. And one of the things that also stigmatizes people is mental health.
Yes.
So I just want to talk to you briefly about some statistics and about a program that we are engaging in here at National Baptist. And I want you to get your pencil and your paper because I'm going to give you some dates where you can participate in these classes and learn information that will be beneficial to you, your family, and your community. On average, 123 people die by suicide each day. From 1999 to 2016, 630,000 people died from drug overdose. Nearly 1 in 5 US adults live with mental illness. And we know that those numbers are going to get worse because of COVID and people being locked into their homes and not being able to have a socialize face-to-face or in groups with each other. And so it's important that we start to, as a church family and as our own individual families, that we start to look at and to acknowledge and to accept and recognize that this is a problem that we all have to deal with. And so our fearless leader, Dr. Minor, told me, get busy. and find a way that we will be able to help our churches be able to deal with this issue. And so, you know, we have the health ambassadors, but this can go beyond the health ambassadors in your church. And so we have a program that it's called Mental Health First Aid. And what Mental Health First Aid does is it teaches you how to identify, understand, and respond to signs of mental illness and substance use disorder. The training will give you the skills you need to reach out and provide initial support to someone who may be developing a mental health or substance abuse problem, and then how to refer them to appropriate care. You will learn how to assess a risk of suicide or harm. You learn one of the most important things that we all do not do, and that's listen non-judgmentally. We have to learn to give reassurance and information, and encourage you to refer them to appropriate professional help, and it encourages them to have self-help and to engage in other support strategies. Now, once you take this class, it's an 8-hour class, but once you take the class, you will be certified for 3 years to be able to provide this help. And guess what, you all, as we told you on the last session, it is free. It costs you not a dime to learn how to help yourself, your family, or your church family, or your
mental
community.
health first aid training. If we get
mental
this
health first aid training
through the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, of which Dr. Jerry Young's our president. You know, membership has its benefits, so they can actually get this training for free.
For free, and it only takes 1 day of your life, just 1 day, in this 8 hours, to be able to provide the information that someone in your family might need, because we don't always recognize the signs. We sometimes we take it for to be just being deliberately violent, or just not taking care of themselves, or just if there are a lot of different signs that we tend to overlook because we want to, or simply because we don't know how to get the help that people need. And so get your pencil, because here are the dates. The next class is May 7th. Then it's May 12th. There's a class May 26th and May 28th. These are all for adults. And then there's a class on June.
May 7th,
Pardon me?
May 12th, May 7th, May 12th, May 26th.
May 12th, May 26th, May 28th. And if you can't make any of those, then the next sessions are in June 4th, 9th, the 23rd, and the 25th. Those are if you want to work with adults.
Remember, we canceled one on the 23rd, though.
Cancel the one on, okay.
Remember, there's something special going on. Remember, something special going on in June 23rd.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And for the youth, there's May 21st and June 18th. June 18th. I think June 18th is going to be the best one, because maybe we have to cancel May 21st too.
Dr. Young, those dates were given to us from outsiders. They didn't know anything about the National Baptist, so we didn't.
Right. Right. So June 18th, and it's for youth. And then one for June is June 4th, June 9th, and June 25th.
Make it simple, folks. If y'all just email info@hopenbc.com, put in the chat, info@hopenbc.com, put in there that you want to sign up for it, and we'll get you the information. I strongly look for our state convention, Mid-South churches. We got somebody signed up for it. The same way you get the defibrillator in your church, in case somebody has a heart attack. We want to have people in our churches who can help us identify the first signs of people being in distress. We recently had a minister to commit suicide in our area. So we need this type of training so badly. So Sister Campbell, I asked you to do it and you did it. Thank you. Oh, and the time is all day, right, Sister?
It's from 9 to 4 Eastern Standard Time. 9 to 4 Eastern Standard Time, or 8 to 3 Central Time.
Okay. All right.
And you get a lot of breaks, and it's very interactive. So you don't get bored, and the time goes so fast you don't even realize it's going.
All right. And y'all always ask what the National Baptist is doing. This is what we're doing. Dr. Young has envisioned the future exceptionally. So now you go and tell folks we're offering this stuff. We got it lined up. Let's enroll. I see some people typing their email in the chat. We need you to email us, info at hopenbc.com, and we will get you the information and we take care of it. So thank you, Sister.
I think we'll also have it posted on the, I think Duke also has it posted on the website.
Well, we're updating our website. It'll probably on our Facebook page. So just bear with us. Yeah, we had a host, and that host is toast now. So we moved to another one. So just email us, and we'll get the thing lined up. We want to make everything is top notch, okay? And then when that notch went below, we had to move on, okay? But thank you, Sister Bettina. Okay. All right. So we can wrap up. I think we can wrap up our social media part and everything. But look, we're gonna hang on because the rosters have so graciously said we got a lot more questions here that we're gonna work through tonight. But look, we want to make sure you go to our webpage. We are updating it, but our webpage is hopenbc.com. Hopenbc.com. We do want you to support us for our All of Us research program. You can go to joinallofus.org /NBCUSA. Go there and do that. Look, there's not ever been a Black group to get a grant like this from NIH. So please, ma'am, please, sirs, go to this website and let them know that the National Baptist means business. Once again, we want everybody to, if you hadn't done it, go to thenationalbaptist.com and register for our National Baptist Congress. Oh my God, they got some awesome classes, awesome instructors. Want you to participate there. I know we're limited to the number of people that can come to Jackson, but guess what? You can just go online, get this top-notch training, the material and stuff we have from the National Baptist. You'll hate yourself if you don't participate in this thing and register. So go to nationalbaptist.com and register for our National Baptist Congress. We do have two more of our regional health conferences coming up, May 14th for the Northeast and June 3rd for the Far West. May 14th for the Northeast and June 3rd for the Far West. Again, email info@hopenbc.com. We'll get you the information. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we put in the link our YouTube channel. You can watch our videos later time. Now, we appreciate your feedback. We put the link in there for our survey. As my late godfather said, the biggest room there is the room for improvement. We want to recognize our Hope team. Dr. Desi Levy, Sister Lottie Minor, Sister Bettina Campbell, Pastor Dexter Moraney, Sister Ellen McKnight, Dr. Felisa Washington, Mr. Geraldine Moore, Sister Loretta Miller, Dr. Lavora Williams, Sister Nettie Johnson, Dr. Marion Talley, our app tech person keeps us lined up, Thomas Duke Robinson. A shout out to our 7 regional coordinators, Pastor Daniel Blackburn in the Northeast, Sister Brooklyn Rogers in the Southeast, Pastor Bernard Montgomery, Southwest 1, Sister Linda Copper, Southwest 2, to Sister Teresa Fields Farm in the West, Sister Norma Jackson in the West, and Pastor Richmond Johnson in the Far West. Now, we're know that we have additional questions. For those of you out there on Facebook, we'll try to come back around to you and answer them in the inbox. For those of you all that are on Zoom, just hang tight.
Before you go, Dr. Matt, I'm so sorry, but I wanted to get this out because the winner of the $100, and I know I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. My wife and I would like to grant them of her 2 books so she could start her journey with her loved ones. So we would like to offer 2 books that they can have autographed from my wife. And also, I don't think people really understand how powerful what you all have done with the NIH. And I do know how it works. As you bring new stuff on, you get more money to support the organization. And so therefore, I think something very innovative would be to add our 2-hour seminars on the supporters of patients who suffer from obesity. It's totally new. They will jump on it. And then we can get free books to everybody. And also, I'm willing to join with the National Baptist to be able to support and participate in those seminars. So we want that money to get bigger than 750. You should be getting $3 to $5 million. And we just have to help you come up with innovative ways to do it. What you've done just is outstanding. Jerry, it's really a beautiful thing. It will be part of your legacy as leadership, and yours too, Dr. Miner. I didn't mean to dominate, but I had to get that into you before it left my mind.
No problem. Look, we'll get all the contact information in just a minute. All right. And Dr. Young has no problem accepting more money, more money. Okay. All right. All right. Look, once again, we do acknowledge our president, Dr. Jerry Young, who reminds us to envision the future exceptionally. This has been a production of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated. With its more than 31,000 churches located across the country, the nation's largest Black denomination. God bless you and God keep you is our prayer.